Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Shambho Mahadev. Namaste. Welcome to Satsang. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to all the Zoomers from all over the world. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for coming. It's not raining today. So since most of you are students who come here to at least a few satsangs, oh, there are a couple of new ones. Is this the first time? So we're talking about self-realization, moksha, enlightenment, all same. So what are we have prerequisites for enlightenment, very simple. We're bringing the Vedantic truths, bringing their very essence to you in just like a spoonful. So it's not so complex. Now you're sitting in there, going through a whole bunch of texts, which will take you years and years and years, and you'll get old and then you'll die. You have to come back to finish the rest of it. So here, from the time I was young, I was sitting with my Swamiji, and later on, Ramana Maharshi. A much later time only, Ramana came. But we were in the town of Arunachala, where Ramana was very much, his presence was there very much. So it impacted me on a very deep level. So the prerequisites, first of all, is humility, to know who you are. Because right now, before even we do anything, right now you are that eternal, ancient, supreme reality right now. You may not have recognized it and forgotten your vastness. So we are reintroducing you to your own vastness. So for that we need a little bit of prerequisites, because the mind ego has forgotten because of the experiences in many other lifetimes, gazillion lifetimes actually, right? So the prerequisites simply inspires you and guides you to just stick to these things, and you will just simply come home. The first prerequisite is humility. Humility, humility, humility. Because without humility, you can't give up what I am requesting you to give up later on. Without humility, you will have, if you're humble, you can kneel in front of the divine within you and say, I am done. Okay, humility. Then second one is dropping your name and form. Why name and form? Because when you say your name, you're so-and-so, your form, you're a male, you're female, your son, your father, everything. The positionalities, all of your positionalities that you think you are will come up. It simply remains there through all the lifetimes and everything. So you have to rise above that. So to rise above that, see, you can't drop your toys. It's not so easy. You know why enlightenment is a rare thing? Is because we can't drop our toys. That's why it's rare. Right? Once you drop your toys, it's simply there. You just follow what is being said here, and it's not that difficult. It's very simple. What we're giving you is very simple by self. There's no personality sitting here and telling you, come home, be enlightened. You know, that personality is long gone. So something sits here. That which flows is only the infinite reality. No personality called Sharada Ma. So there's a name given. So when you drop your name and form, all of your life, so-called life in this earthly plane, will simply dismantle. Ouch. Are you afraid? Simply dismantle. And that has to be dismantled for you to come and see that vastness within you. You're now only seeing a very limited being enacting itself in a very puny, limited way. And what I'm talking about is stepping into that unlimited reality where everything is an effortless flow and everything is simply flowing. And if it doesn't happen right away, don't come next satsang and say, it did not happen. You need, for that you need abhyasa, you need Shraddha and Bhakti, which is, Shraddha means faith, Bhakti means devotion to your ideal. And what is your ideal? The highest endeavor is emancipation, moksha, enlightenment, self-realization. Okay, so what Ramana Maharshi says, that the only thing worthwhile doing in this human life is to be enlightened. The only worthwhile, okay? Trust me on that one. This one has been there, done that. Went through life, blah, blah, everything. And once you come to this space, and he says nothing else matters and nothing else is worth it. That's from the great sages. And this one has experienced it, because when you have the guts, when you have the courage to simply drop and see life just the way it presents itself without judgment. So the next thing is, between the prerequisites, not be judgmental to anything. And then dropping all of your letting go. So that's why we need humility, because I'm telling you letting go and you're saying, what the heck am I supposed to let go? This is my life. This is what I've strived for. And I've built up this business. I've built up this work. I'm earning like pittance. You want me to give that up too? I'm not saying that. You can simply continue your work, continue everything. The next prerequisite is dropping the doership. Dropping your doership. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Come on, old students. Who said that? Very good. No attachment to the results. So letting go is dropping everything without having any desires or wants. Because anytime you have a desire, you'll say, Ma, it's a very beautiful desire. And there's only one little thing I want in this life. And when that is achieved, I will come to full enlightenment. That is the whole point. So letting go is dropping everything and accepting life just the way it flows, because life is already preordained. In between, some little bit choices we have, like I've said in the last Satsangs. Between B and D, birth is inevitable. You don't have any say in the matter. Death is inevitable. You don't have say in the matter. There is a C in between, a little bit of choice. That choice also is preordained, but at least be aware of the preordination. See, this is where the thing is. It's a very subtle thing you have to understand. That also is preordained, but it's coming in front of you. Why is that we are taking so many lifetimes? There's an echo, or it's okay? The recording is okay? You're okay, like everybody? Because I'm hearing like a little bit of ting, 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 ting. Imagine you're talking, you're hearing ting, ting, ting. Anyway. Okay, so what was I saying? Everything's a preordination. So even in the choices that you're going to be making, you have to realize it's preordination and it's coming to you. It's presenting itself. Life is giving you this presentation and telling you, you know what, you can have a choice, whether to be at satsang or it's raining and you're just too lazy and you say, oh, I'm just going to cuddle up and stay in bed. It's your choice. But at least if you're zooming, you're at home and zooming. Thank you very much. Because you get upset. If I poke you, you get upset and I get emails and texts and all. See, you don't understand. I love you. Why is this one sitting here? I'm already happy. I'm already joyful. I don't have to do any of this. Why it happens is because when one is emancipated and given up the entire freaking world, completely renounced, okay? You cannot lure me into anything. Does not matter. Does not happen at all. You become totally ruthless. In truth, in radical truth. I'm not saying ruthless just like that. Go and have a bunch of beers and sit there and get drunk and say, I'm ruthless. Not like that. Complete mastery over yourself. You're sitting there being ruthless. So the ruthless is when I poke you to say, get to the satsang. Why do I have to do that? Tell me. Because there's such a benefit for you. You pay or not pay, it doesn't matter. Some donations we think because we have to pay the rental. But it doesn't matter. The first priority is your enlightenment for me, right? So if you're here, you will simply benefit because the Ganga Ma is flowing incredibly. Because it's not something that I am doing, because it's simply a benediction of that space. It's a benediction for everybody. And for this one also. Right? So if you're there, you put yourself in the line of fire, then you see how you're going to simply melt, because all that you cannot drop, all that you're finding difficulty in dropping, it will simply fall after the satsang when we do the transmission. Transmission is even a look, even speaking also, right? Because it's not the personality trying to connect with you. It is the immensity which is connecting with you. So it doesn't matter, you're getting the benefit. So coming to the prerequisites, one important thing is your pure intention wanting freedom, right? That's your pure intention. So suppose you have that pure intention, if you really want freedom, you say, I want out of here. And you want the freedom. Then God knows He's heard your prayer. Then whatever problems you're going to go through in your life, it's okay, because the hand of God is always with you. Whether you say that prayer or not, the hand of God is with you. But once you have that intention, it's just beautiful, exquisite. It's from my humble experience. I've gone through terrible, I've always shared with you. I'm sharing with you again and again, because to inspire you that don't ever give up. Because like 20, 30 years, surgeries after surgeries, and this body never thought this one would happen. This one will happen. Forget about sitting in satsang, but even like just sitting. Okay, I just thought I could never get up, So there is an infinite grace working through you all the time, because when all of this is happening, the grace is just watching over you. Somebody said yesterday that for 30 years he's been ill. 30 years. He never gave up on his path. No. So whenever you have that little, body acting up, you remember its purification. That Lord has picked you up and is purifying you. Because why? Because you've given that pure intention. I want to be free. And even after the process of complete enlightenment has happened within you and you're established in the self, that's not the end either. There's still more growing. There's still more going deeper. 2 years back, if you ask me, was I like this? Definitely not, right? So every moment when you're in total Sharanagati, so finally the prerequisite is complete surrender to that infinite within you that we call God, that we call existence, consciousness, bliss. So the surrender is a problem. So if you're having 100% surrender within you, then everything is simply given to you, simply given. It comes to your doorstep. Why wouldn't it? Aren't you the child of God? Isn't there the spark of God within you? You are that spark. The sun is there, it's got 1,000,000 rays. You're one of the rays. You're in different manifestations, so don't compare yourself to the other person. Well, he sat here and he came home. How come I'm not home yet? You gave him the mala, you didn't give it to me. It's your own prarabdha, it's your own thing, but don't worry, this one is there, watching over you 1,000%. So don't worry. Once you come here and you tell me, signed off and said, I want enlightenment, that's all. The only thing I ask little bit is, I'll put, like Ramana says, little bit, see the Guru, God and self are one and the same. Okay, so God flows through the Guru principle. That's why I always say Guru principle. And then comes to you, the self. So all one and the same, no problem. So this is not something I'm promising you with such confidence that, oh, don't worry, you're taken care of. Because I see the infinite flowing within, which takes care of everything, regardless, even if I forget. Oh my God, I got a vision of you or something. I said, oh, okay. Because God comes through that one you are familiar with. That way the Guru principles are off the hook, because that will become ego, right? All the great masters, they served and served and served, and they left the body one day, no problems. They did not expect acknowledgement. They did not expect accolades. If somebody says, I don't like this way she's running satsangs, oh well, that's fine. That's when the humility comes, no? When you're humble, you accept everything. Okay, God is, coming through these people, whatever. So far, so good. Any questions for the prerequisites? So the desires have to be dropped totally. And I'll read something from my Swamiji's book, which is exquisite. Renunciation. Inner renunciation. Inner renunciation. Okay? So outwardly, you're going to your work. You're doing everything, right? You're working hard and everything. But while you're working, and you have to get a project done, and you've done all of your work for the project, then what do? Meditate. And what else before meditation? You don't have time for meditation at work. You're very busy. You're a project manager. In that thing, after you finish your project, what do? Thank you. Let go. That's what I'm talking about, conscious living, which I'll come now. Conscious living, super conscious living. Okay, so when you're consciously thinking that I am renouncing within myself, you have to renounce that project also. Renouncing that project also. How good of a teacher you are, how good of a therapist you are, how good of a guru principal you are, blah, blah, blah. So in that moment when you're renouncing and letting go of that positionality, because that also is a positionality, you're letting go of that positionality as well, then what remains? When the name and form drops, that you're genuinely telling me, okay, Ma, I've dropped my name and form. What remains? Very good. Look at that. Excellent, Matthew. Just the self in its radiance, in its brilliance, in its inspiring guidance. It's there now, alone by itself, all alone. You're not feeling lonely. It is simply there, so brilliant that you don't worry about your loneliness, because you're always engulfed with that radiant light. And I'm not even saying like you're going to see light around you. I'm only saying the significant silence which envelops you every moment. That's a mastery. Even when you're having a conversation, you're absolutely pure silence within. Have you come to that? Go check. Okay, so far. Mastery will take some time, but don't worry. Oh my God, I'm not quite there where she's talking about. Don't worry about it. As long as you're coming here or Zooming or whatever. Okay, so far so good. Any questions? No questions? Good, very good. The newcomers, you understood? So I want to read this beautiful thing from my Swamiji. It's a book on personally speaking. It's my Swamiji, who I've been with him for the time I was 5 years old. And he is incredibly brilliant, erudite, a scholar, and written gazillion books. I can't even hold a candle to his brilliance, but I'm just sitting here as a little one, talking about his vastness. To a sadhaka means spiritual aspirant. To a sadhaka, a tree is not green wood, and a hill is not a heap of stones. His sensitivity sees the tree as life spreading itself aloft, and a hill or mountain is teaching you how to hold yourself. Mountain, right? How to hold yourself. The tree is a bridge between earth's richness and the sun's inexhaustible energy. It is the love child of the sun-kissed earth of Vishnu Patni Bhudevi. It's just, the Hindu thing where they describe that as the Vishnu Patni. Patni means wife of Vishnu. It will be beneficial for a sadhaka to realize the deep meanings provided by Sanskrit words. Even that you don't have to worry, because you'll say, oh boy, I don't know about that. Don't worry about it. I'm giving it to you in English languaging, so you don't have to worry. Similarly, the name for mountain is Dara Dara, indicating that which holds the earth, And this is also the definition of dharma. Dharma means duty. So a sadhaka goes to the mountain to learn the rules of right living, to know the secrets of mind stability and of meditation. Initially, we talk about the mind stability because you have to come to the purified mind, which is the Shuddha Buddhi. Shuddha means clean. The fitting disposition for union with God is not the understanding of everything on the subject of the nature of God. Please, I'll read this again. Please note, because most of the people are going out to find more information on enlightenment. Please observe your own inner experience first, and even if you have that experience for a few moments, you're done, you're pretty good. The fitting disposition for union with God is not the understanding of everything in the subject of the nature of God. It consists of striving for total resignation to His will in all actions, complete detachment from all things in order to be attached only to Him who comes in and through all things. So what we talk in satsang is lovingly unattached. Even detachment sometimes feels like a negative connotation. Oh, you have to detach from something, when everything is really the whole. So lovingly unattached. The other day, somebody asked it about love. He's not here today, but he talked about love, and he says that I'm trying to rise above that love which I'm feeling, which I'm feeling so strongly. I said, no, you can have the love. Why don't you want to give? Why do you want to give up love? Because you are love itself. Why do you want to give up love? Because you are love itself. Love is God, and that without that love energy in the universe, nothing even moves. So be lovingly unattached. So you can give that person, your loved one, your sibling, your child, your daughter, whoever, any relationship, you give complete love of yourself, but lovingly unattached. So tomorrow if something happens to that person and she's dying on you, you're not completely ruined. You're not completely ruined. You're simply stabilized in that state where even that beautiful one who came into your life is gone, you're still okay. So he talks about resignation. I'm talking about renunciation. Renouncing everything that is coming from the world. Unless you do that, folks, you're not going to really see God. You cannot come to that state of supreme silence. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing detain you. Let all things pass through. Cling to that which never changes. That is God, that suffices. How many times we talked about that in the satsang? Let nothing detain you. So important, no? Everybody is going off. Distractions here, attractions there. I want to do this course. I want to do this meditation. I want to do this retreat. They come back not really, improved. It's different if you're going for you're a yoga person, you're going for a nice yoga retreat, it relaxes you. That's different. But if you're going to go and say, I need, more information, right? Have you ever thought what you mean when you recite the shloka, Guru Brahma, Guru Dev, Guru Devo, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara? That we used to say that all the time. We don't have any time for chanting because we have so much to. So Brahma is the Lord of creation who sits in a lotus, denoting that he is free from creation's attachments. So even the creator, Brahma, he sits on the lotus to prove that he's not attached to even his creations. Okay. Vishnu is the Lord of all riches, but prefers to sleep on a serpent. He's sleeping on a snake, free from greed. So he's not also attached to anything. Rudra is the destroyer of all worlds, not aggressively, but with grace at heart, calm and serene, without anger. The Guru is like the Trimurtis. Trimurtis means Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Because of these qualities of Nishkama, okay, which is unattached. Nishkama is unattachment to things. Nirlobha is not being greedy. And Nishkrodha is not being angry. You must acquire these qualities through Guru Bhakti. So devotion to the Guru, which here I'm saying Guru principle, so you don't have to be devoted to this one. But it is the concept of the path to realization. The mist looks down with gentle eyes, tenderly and while passing by reaches out to smoothen the wrinkles of the land and remove its dryness. Remember this, that the same can be told of tempest of life. So every obstacle you get, it's for your own realization, is for your own evolving. Every problems you get in your life, every challenges you get in your life is for your own evolving. Remember, the same can be told of the tempest of life. There is a purpose to the terrific touches meant to smoothen you. Okay. So isn't that beautiful? It tells you everything. The whole satsang is done with that. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Yes, Dave.
I have a question about meditation. So I used to do like a silent meditation like you do here like 35 years ago.
Yes.
And since then I've done other meditations. And when I did it like every day for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I was getting less and less benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was with the master I was with, I learned this other meditation practice, and it just moved me light years faster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I haven't done the silent meditation until I came here again.
Mm-hmm.
And I've struggled with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this week was a bit of a breakthrough. I started practicing
Mm-hmm.
Concentration exercises before, because
mm-hmm.
my thoughts just go and I'm unaware when they do, and I just kind of grab on the thought and go with it. And then, oh, no, I'm meditating. And so it's twofold. One, any suggestions of how to become more aware so that when I'm meditating, I don't like grab onto the thoughts and go with it, instead just rise above it and let it go. And the other is because of when I did the meditation all those years ago and I was getting less benefit and than the other meditations, I'm like hesitant to, I guess I have this judgment that like, okay, this silent meditation isn't just going to do it for me. It's not going to break free doing it. I'm getting less movement from it. I'm not saying I know that to be true.
Right.
I'm just saying that's what
Right, that's what is presenting in your life. So what was your first question again?
How can I?
Oh, how can you be aware? Yes, I got it.
Yeah.
First of all, when you're sitting for any kind of meditation, right? When you're sitting in silence, your thoughts are going to come incessantly. The thoughts are not going to say, yeah, she's in meditation, so let me just take a break. That's when it's so fierce, because that comes from the realm of the ego mind. Your thoughts are from the realm of the ego mind. Always remember that. So when the thoughts are arising, like what we say here is you are sitting in a waveless ocean of bliss. To make it very smooth and easy flowing, you just go and sit there in the beautiful white lotus and you forget the whole world, including the thoughts. You don't try to rise above the thoughts. That becomes a doership, right? So I told you to drop the doership. So when you're trying to rise above anything or do something, then the doer comes in and says, oh yeah, rise above the thoughts, and you didn't rise above the thoughts, so you're stuck, right? Simply let it be. It's just like you're the big blue sky, like I've told you many times in satsang. And the clouds are either they're white fluffy clouds, or they're gray clouds, or they're dark clouds. Does the sky complain? Sky doesn't complain. It just is. So emancipation is just, you are just it at every moment. It just is. It's just a flow. I'll read more about Bhagavan's thing, how beautiful it is. You don't have to do nothing. You just are. So in that isness, you're dropping the judgment of what's happening today when he's studying for meditation, and his thing is emancipation. Yeah, you don't have to have the thoughts. Once you have had a pure intention telling God, how has he brought you here? You had many masters, everything you practiced many times. Now what you hear. All that I'm saying is simply pay attention to the now, where God has brought you, where grace has brought you here. Just remain and give it some time. Give it some time, right? That's all. So once you come to that state, you're dropping everything. You're dropping, first of all, the name and form that Dave Kasdan is sitting here for meditation, right or wrong? Suppose you drop that completely and you say, if this meditation goes beautiful or not, I still am. That vastness within you is still is. Does that go away because you didn't have proper meditation?
No, that doesn't go away.
Right.
I'm either
right.
maybe not moving fast if I'm stuck in my mind.
Right. So that is again a judgment on the personality, right? So you have to drop that and you have to allow. See, abhyasa means practice. Practice means what? You tried like a football player is trying to get the basketball player is trying to get it on the hoop, and when he's just practicing when he's a younger child, he's just trying it like 50 times. He's saying, "Dad, I'm not going to ever get this," and Dad said, "Come on, honey, you can keep doing it." 100 times it doesn't get, and one fine day, boom, it goes into the thing, and it's so excited, right? Till that time, what does it do? Keep on trying. So I'm not saying this is so difficult because you have a guru principle, you have the sustenance of this satsang, you have the transmission. So all that you have to do is simply let go and sit for the jolly ride and say, today I know that my heart is for emancipation. My highest endeavor is for myself coming home, pure self-realization. After that, you simply let go. No judgments, no nothing, you drop everything. And whatever suits you, whatever type of meditation seems to be working for you, you do. Don't give a timeline, because when I talked about the resignation and renunciation, right? Even that has to be renounced. I mean, I was a little stubborn. I said, enlightenment, I want to be free. You can be stubborn, but at the time of meditation, you have to let go. Simply bungee jump, you know. You have to bungee jump, folks. Sometime you have to bungee jump, and you have to say it does not matter. The moment you give permission, and the mind knows that you're not so angst about how well your meditation went and how many hours you're sitting, you're saying, hey, I don't care, I know that my intention is pure. I'm in radical truth. I'm in radical truth and authenticity. And you tell God, you know all my faults and lacks, I'm like, go to the mind, and so many people, mind, mom, my mind is problem. What can you do? You have to wait. So what Bhagavan says, wait for all the vasanas to be drained. Vasanas means what? Impressions of the past lifetimes. So he says, first drain off all your vasanas. So what you're doing now during meditation is draining the vasanas, allowing those things to come up to be released. So even if the personality called Dave is getting a little frustrated, you're simply allowing, okay, frustrated meditation, okay, whatever. The moment you allow it, you will realize you're giving permission for yourself to relax. Same thing with, problems with health and all. You're not allowing yourself to relax. Every time there's an agenda, drop all the agendas, even enlightenment. Just leave it to this one. You just come here, sit, okay? You do the best you can. That's all we can do. I can only do the best you can. If you want me to create some miracles and some, thing, I can't do it. That's not my cup of tea. I'm not a magician. The self is a magician in all ways. So, you know that, but, I don't want to say anything more than that. So just be in samyama. Samyama means what? Equanimity and restraint. Equanimity and restraint. Restraint means what? Restraining your blah, blah, blah mind coming in and telling you, oh, Dave, you need to get this enlightenment going really fast, and you're taking like so many years. And what does it matter? You've taken gazillion lifetimes to become and see this grace. The grace has brought you here. So it is the greatest blessing. So that's why humility comes in when you see this is a beautiful blessing. I'm here, I'm sitting, and just give me the patience to keep going to the satsangs. If it's making, and within the first 3-4 satsangs, don't say, oh yeah, this is not working for me. Come, okay? So that's all I can do is invite you to come and sit. I can't do anything more than that. I can take all the guru principles, can take you to the water, they can't make you drink. Can take the horse to the water, can't make it drink. They'll say, if you do that, what can I do? I can't do anything. Okay? Good enough? Very good. So I have a question. Dearest Ma, thank you for the love and wisdom that you share from your heart. When I looked into your eyes after last week's satsang, I could see endless love. What a blessing you are. My question is this: as I have more experiences of waking up to self, I also continue to frequently experience intense loneliness and fear of loneliness. which create emotional suffering and can be a powerful distraction from realizing the self. That's coming from the realm of the ego mind. So first of all, before going further, Amy, I know you're Zooming today. I thought you were going to come, but anyway. The very fact you looked into these eyes and you found endless love, the very fact tells you that you are in a very deep state. And you're able to recognize that overflowing of love from this one, right or wrong? So when you have had this experience of self, but you continue to have frequent intense loneliness and fear of loneliness, same answer that I gave Dave. You allow those loneliness clouds to come and be released. Because if God is giving you times of beauty, of pure silence, experience of self, what you do is just be happy with that aspect of your life, and then the other aspect is going boom, boom, because you have too much in your mind realm and it's trying to release. So allow the releasing. And see, you're going into which create emotional suffering. That's an agenda of the mind, which is a judgment on you. So you yourself are judging yourself, which is creating emotional suffering and can be a powerful distraction from realizing the self. You've also given it the name powerful. You see how the mind works? Powerful distraction. What is more powerful than the self? Anything more powerful than this supreme reality within you that can just blow it off in 1 second? Why do you give so much power to your distractions and your emotional suffering? That's where the suffering is there. You see? Okay, now the main thing why we're talking about enlightenment and emancipation is because you can be devoid of that suffering, still here sitting on earth. How long are you going to be suffering? Suffering, striving, make a few pennies, whatever. I'm saying do your job, do everything, whatever. Be in renouncing within, do Sharanagati within, complete. What is Sharanagati? I want to see if you're sleeping or are awake. Good. Total surrender. And just see, simply taste the nectar, simply try it. Because I'm not simply sitting here, unless it's experiential within my beingness and within this life, cannot be preached. So, before I really came to seeing and all that fully, several of people, we used to live in Arizona, and several people said, you're a very bright light, you need to start teaching. I said, absolutely not. No, because, if within myself, I still see a few lacks and I see that I'm not fully baked, and how am I going to bake others? Ultimately, it's a blessing because the longing to connect is so great. No human relationship I've had or had currently ever fulfills it. Thus, I'm propelled to seek this complete and lasting love within, beautiful understanding. So at least the recognition of the deep love within is experienced within her, that she chooses to do that. Now, they should have ended the matter, but in the last few years, I love you, Amy. In the last few years, Grace has gifted me more experience of true self in that space. That's beautiful, excellent. I feel complete and content, but I find it so challenging to remain in that space. Okay, that's a very beautiful thing because that happens to everybody. The challenging, once you've experienced that space and it's so beautiful, and you say you come here and you have experienced this vastness, and then I go home and I sit there and it's like, it's like, why am I not being able to meditate? But you have to remember, what was my memory sitting at Satsang? What was my memory in that sacred space? If I could be in that state at that time, so can I be here also? Because that constant within you, same as this one, that one, everybody, one and only one. Because the self is only one. The mind is almost incessantly fearing and seeking ways to avoid loneliness and rejection from others, particularly from my romantic partner and my children. I know that these thoughts and emotions are related to the person, yet I continue to often identify with them. So the self-identification. So why we tell you first humility and then immediately we go to self-identification. Name and form has to be dropped. So if you drop your name that you're so-and-so, and you drop your fame that you're a female, having a partner, having children, blah, 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 everything ceases to be. At least in meditation, you simply take a vacation, right? You take a vacation and be your true reality, which is simple silence, unity with that divinity within you. And then you watch the magic. When you are in that state of being, everything will simply resolve by itself. But again, it's the abhyasa, what she's feeling. More abhyasa has to be done for you, because you're feeling that the mind is coming back to sabotage. So we talked about the mind sabotaging, hijacking. So you're hooked to the mind phenomena, and you're allowing the mind to sabotage you. See, she also says, see, there is such an amazing awareness within her that she's able to see what is happening. The moment you're able to see what is happening, what do? You jump ship. You just say, hello, adios, bye-bye. I know that these thoughts and emotions are related to the person. So you know it's related to the person. That is your personality. That is your identification of your name and form. And the moment you drop it, you're just having a little vacation. Say, I can actually breathe now, right? Yet I continue to often identify with them. They appear to be increasing in strength as I awaken. It is very exhausting sometimes, like an almost constant mind storm. Any guidance you wish to share is greatly appreciated. So, do conscious living. This is where conscious living comes in. I know these thoughts and emotions are related to a person, yet I continue to often identify with them. They appear to be increasing in strength. When they are increasing in strength and your awareness as an awareness identifies that increasing in strength, what do? Conscious. Come to the conscious living. You're conscious already. Actually, you're not coming to you're already conscious that it is jeopardizing you, it is sabotaging you. So what you do is you simply drop the whole enchilada, however painful at that moment. You have to drop the whole enchilada, however painful. Can you drop? Do you have the guts to drop? Do you have the guts to drop, Amy? If you can drop the whole enchilada of you being this, having a partner whom you have to appease, or the children, or this or that. So why we say meditation 3 times a day is because during meditation, you're dropping the personality, you're dropping your positionalities, you're dropping everything and simply sitting in that state of pure, vacation. Okay, you've just given yourself a bit of time to just have a vacation and be with yourself. How many times do you do that? Oh, I'm doing this, I have to do this for this person, do that. And it's not a selfish thing. You and you alone are the most important person in your life. Why? Because you are sitting here for emancipation. And I promised you that when you are emancipated, your state of being will be absolutely operating at such a velocity, you will not know when you're sitting, you're going or you're coming or anything like that. If you continue to be conscious living. So I hope I have answered your question, Amy. Just try to do that conscious living. So every time the mind, for everybody it's the same. When the mind is jeopardizing you, coming there and saying, because it's going to keep doing it, especially when it knows that you are in the path of enlightenment. Let me just get this, because I'm out of the door pretty soon. She's going to kick me out of the door, or he's going to kick me out of the door. I don't have a place to go. I'm out in the cold. So all the more you have to be vigilant, you have to be aware, you have to be conscious living. And how we go to super conscious living? Every time we come and stop, then no time. But super conscious living is having recognized this truth, and even though you are not enlightened yet, having recognized this truth within you, go to super conscious living. Recognizing everything at every moment that you are that vastness. Super conscious living is you simply believe, have the Shraddha, have the faith that you are that supreme light, which is the truth. I'm not just making it up. It's not like a circus you're saying, oh, you know what, you're the elephant. You are that bright light. You are that ancient, eternal one. So simply believe it for the time being. Okay? You simply believe it for the time being and act from that space of vastness. And that is stepping into the infinite. Not this finite thing, oh, I still have these thoughts and, it's just jeopardizing me. And, I have to keep up this job because, I've been doing this for 20 years and how can I give it up? Well, give it up. Do you have the freaking courage to give it up if it does not serve you? All I'm saying, if it's serving you, good, you're making some money, okay. Is money so important or your enlightenment is important? See, when you go to the radical truth within you at every moment, you can simply shift. And I'm not guaranteeing you when you make that paradigm shift that, yeah, the whole kingdom is going to be there. It may be park benches, here I come. Okay, are you ready for that? No, I'm a great one. And why would I sleep in park benches? Like, what are you talking about? Radical truth. See, you have to come to that recognition and that courage to really see the light within you, to experience the light within you, which is just waiting and saying, oh, when are you going to see me? God is saying, are you going to turn around and see me? I've been waiting all this time. This is by Ramana Maharshi's words. I shall truthfully declare the essence of the final doctrine of the Vedanta. When the ego dies and becomes that with capitals, the self of pure awareness. So that is the self of pure awareness. That alone abides. That alone abides. Of what avail is it knowing things other than the self? And the self being known, what other thing is there to know? The self being known, what other thing? Just like Swamiji, so much in tune with each teaching is the same. He said, like, you don't need to know all about God realization to be one with that. What other thing is there to know? Learn first what you are. Learn first what you are. This requires no sastra, and no scholarship. So the shastras, I told you, like, you can have the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, whatever, they're all the shastras. The Quran, whatever. But once you have the essence of them, you don't need to go to every page and say, okay, what does the Shastra say? Do I have to live by that? You are the essence of that alone. And if you've come to realize that essence within you at this moment, you're finished. Okay, you don't have to be this erudite. There are a lot of erudite masters. I ain't one. Be as simple as possible so that God can take your life and emanate from that grace. You have to be first simple. You have to be in Sharanagati. You have to renounce every freaking thing. And when that was happening in my life, I did not say, I'm going to be here in this, sitting here, He just lifted me up and said, hey, do this. And because of my Sharanagati was so deep, okay, I had no idea what I was going to speak. And I wasn't even a person who would speak in public, such a shy person. I know my old students will laugh. They'll say, ha, yeah, ma, you're such a simpleton. One light shines as many selves. This self within. One light shines as many selves. This self within you right now. This moment. Yes or no? An awareness, lightning flash, the play of grace, ego's death, the blossoming of bliss. Play of grace, ego's death. So when I talk about death and I say, well, you're driving one day and you're so worried about your sustenance today, or I don't have a job and I don't have this, but you're not giving time for your enlightenment, you're not giving time for your meditation, and then you go have a car crash. This is the ruthless thing I'm talking about. I'll talk about car crashes and I'll talk about death, because that is the reality, folks. Whether you're 30, 40, 60, 80, you're going to be, you never know when death knocks on the door. What happens then? You're gone and you go to the heavens, like you call, or whatever you go. Once you go, what happens? Can you take all of your tribulations and of the few pennies you have put in the bank, can you take it with you? Not a pin can you take it with you. But there is something you can take that becomes a layer of your beautiful soul. What is that? That is your abhyasa. That is your spiritual practice that can just simply flow with you, is a part of you, becomes a part of you as an abhyasa, because it's done with such diligence and unconditional love for the divine within you. It simply becomes a part of you. Every cellular level, you become that. So that alone will come with you. Say you worked so hard and you never made it in this lifetime, whatever. Okay? This I'm talking in the now. Tomorrow, I'm talking about tomorrow. If you sit here for an hour, for a year or two, definite enlightenment. But whatever is asked of you has to be done. Okay? In the free time, do other things. There's one more thing I want to ask you, but there's such a small crowd today, so I don't know when to ask that question. Maybe I can. Anyway, remind me. There's a question I'm going to ask it. So, ego's death. See, the only time when the play of the divine takes over, like I was telling Dave, that some grace has brought you here, the play of the divine grace is taking place, and then this ego's death happens. Then the blossoming of bliss. Okay, this is a very common thing. When you come to that state of close to realization, there's a very common need of the aspirant. People want to see the self as something new, but it is the eternal and remains the same all along. They desire to see it as a blazing light. How can it be so? It is not light, not darkness. It is only as it is. You see? So every time you go into this euphoric experiences of I saw light. Well, if you see light, thank you very much. You're blessed. That's good. But don't expect that I haven't seen this euphoric, my friend saw this purple lights and golden lights and white lights, and I don't see anything in my meditation. Tell me, I only see this beautiful, silent clarity that is pure silence and vastness and eternal and ancient. So what he's saying is whatever is presenting to you right now, it just is. And that presentation is off from that eternal vastness and ancient. Ancient, not simply now. Names and forms one sees, or else one sees pure being, awareness, bliss. Looking at a granite dog, one sees the dog or else the stone, but not both form and substance together. If you see that you are the form and the substance as well, subject and the object, then you will understand freedom is very close, and how the object of this body relationship with the world has to be dropped. Everyone is the self. Everyone is the self, still not aware, right? Some of you are not aware. One identifies the self with the body and feels miserable. There's your thing. What the question she had asked, no? Right now you are the self, but sometimes the one identifies with the self and self and the body and feels miserable. So she's feeling miserable. Why? Because she's identifying with the body and she's identifying with her, relationships, children, blah, blah, blah. And naturally, the moment you identify with the body and all of its role playing, it will be miserable for you. And we also said, play the role beautifully, but don't become the role. So once you become the role, since she's in the positionality of that role and becoming the role, the misery continues, the suffering continues. This is the greatest of all miseries. If one is the self, why not abide as self and be done with the miseries? So simple, no? There is no reaching the self, because the self is already. There's no reaching. You're not going to go like run 50 miles or something to reach the self, right? It's right there within you, this moment, it's there. There is no reaching the self. If the self were to be reached, it would mean that the self is not here and now, but that it should be gotten anew. What is gotten afresh will also be lost. What is gotten afresh will also be lost. That also is to do with our experiences of the global phenomena, the earthly phenomena. The earthly plane, you get something, it's going to be lost. You may get $1 million in a lottery ticket. You have no guarantees that's going to be there with your, first you have to pay all the taxes, then you'll say, and then your financer will say, well, you put it in this stock, so you'll really make a lot of money. You say, oh yeah, I trust him, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling rich. And then you put it there, and the next day it says, coronavirus or whatever, coronavirus, and it's tanking. Somebody told me yesterday that, the points have gone down by 2,000 points, and every business is hurting. So where do you want to put your eggs? In that one or in this one, which is you right now, as the radiant self? I'm telling you, it's so simple. It's a no-brainer. And I know you're all very intelligent beings, that you will simply, put your everything in your beingness. What is gotten fresh will also be lost. What is not permanent is not worth striving for. Please remember this. This is all I'm saying. All that is in the world that is illusion or illusory is not worth striving for. Yes, you get a piece of bread, you go to work, you do a little bit, you're provided for one person, maybe your wife, 2 people, maybe your children, 3, 4, whatever, do everything. But while you're doing, who are you? While you're doing, who are you? Do you experience that vastness? Do you experience that ancient one within you? That's what you have to see. What is not permanent is not worth striving for. You are the self, you are already that. But the fact is that you are ignorant of your blissful state. Ignorance supervenes and draws a veil over pure bliss. So it always drawing veils, right? That's the ignorance, going into the wrong information, right? You have to be that's where conscious living comes, where you have to be in awareness all the time and only absorbing the knowledge which serves you and not the knowledge that is going blah, blah, blah and giving you too much information. Because again, you're going to fill your brain with information, and then where is the clarity, where is the silence? You cannot come to the silence. You'll be thinking only of that. This ignorance consists in wrong knowledge. Wrong knowledge consists in false identification to the self with the body, the mind. This false identity must go. Then what alone remains is the self. It's beautiful. So can you deny or exclude this silence that we felt now for a few seconds? Can anybody deny it? It's impossible. It's impossible. So it's all about you and you alone, how fiercely you want to go into this. How much courage you have to put yourself in this line of fire. Because Arunachala, which is the fire element, I forgot to show you the picture. This book, Arunachala, the fire element. This is my mountain of Arunachala. Shiva himself, which is in form, I understand, but the infinite form, beyond form also, Parabrahman. So that element which flows through this one is the fire element. You're going to be burned. I have no choice. You know what I mean? To be very frank, okay? Make hay while the sun shines. I don't know how long this body is going to be here. Radical truth. So take, it's given away, take it when you can. I'm not saying I'm going to go tomorrow, but if enlightenment takes at least 1 to 2 years, at least I want to be able to give away that which is flowing incessantly for simply the taking. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not saying I want to enlighten so many people, but it's simply a flow, which is an ancient, everlasting flow within this one. So if you're really interested, we'll see what we can do. And even if there are homes that can, if suppose say we get only 25 people, of course we don't know till they register, but then we don't even have to, have the hall. If somebody can host us for one time in a month, because we're already here 2 times in a month. So one time in a month, if you can host that. So that came to me just this moment. That'll also be good, because the people who are really interested, I have to make myself available to those sincere seekers, those who are already emancipated as well as those who want to be emancipated. So if you can make it and take the time to come and be with us, then it'll be done. Okay? So, ready for the transmission? Any questions before we go in?
Are you like ill? Like
No. No, I'm not ill. I'm just fine and dandy. But sometimes it is that space that I go into, it's very deep, and the body can go. The body, it's time bound, and not trying to scare you, but I'm just saying that become aware of that grace that's flowing and make use of it right here and now, because here and now is the only possibility, not tomorrow, not day after. So here and now, if you simply drink from this fountain, you'll be getting a lot of benefits. And the benediction simply just is, because I feel it every moment, the benediction of the divine in my beingness. So we'll take you into the meditation. I'll tell you when to come out. Have a few deep breaths and everything. So when I say slowly come out at the end of an hour or 45 minutes, say slowly come out. Please slowly come out, because you will be in an altered state. You're going to be in an altered state. So please make yourself comfortable. Sit comfortably so that you don't move around and disturb others. And when you do get up, when you're waking up, when I say slowly come out, slowly coming out of that deep meditation, and I'll get you out. Don't move around and don't do all the stuff. If you need to lie down and take a nap, please do so, because it's very revitalizing. I don't have any kind of judgment on people who are lying down and even snoring. So if you hear somebody snoring, don't say, oh, well, excuse me, he was just snoring, I was disturbing my meditation. Okay. And please, if you want only a small little blessing, you'll only get a small blessing. If you open yourself to the vastness within, you will get everything that you need today. Everything that you need today, you will receive. Taking a deep breath, inhaling light, peace, love. And exhale, dropping everything that does not serve you. Just for this short meditation. Taking a little vacation from your little puny self. Stepping into that vastness that you truly are. That infinite, eternal, ancient one, here and now. Taking a deep breath, inhaling light, peace, love. And exhale. dropping even further, letting go. There's nothing you're going to lose by letting go of all of your toys, of all of your positionalities, your projects, your expectations, your desires, and your wants. One last deep inhalation, inhaling light, peace, love. And exhale, deep exhalation, dropping to the core of your own reality. And just being, not being this or that, simply relaxing in that state. Slowly come out. Don't open your eyes yet. Take in a gentle breath, inhaling light, peace, love, and exhale. Releasing everything that came up to be released, dropping it completely, not having an attachment. Gentle, deep inhalation, inhaling light, peace, love, and exhale. Dropping completely everything that does not serve you in your path of realization. Drop the sadness also. When you're dropping your toys, drop the sadness as well. One last deep inhalation, inhaling light, peace, love, and exhale. Dropping everything and feeling complete in that state of pure silence. And feeling the eternal ancient one that you are right now at this moment. And not moving away from that space, even though we are coming out. Stepping into that infinitude and owning it as your very true nature. Slowly open your eyes when you're ready. Thank you so much. you so much. Thank you. How are you all feeling? Did you at least experience a little bit of your immensity? This is what it takes. This is what it takes. Simply dropping that limited puny you, that you think that is the vastness. Dropping that puny you, stepping into that unlimited infinity, not outside of you, within you only. You know what I mean? It's just a feeling. It's not some euphoric thing that I'm telling. Lights and balloons and candy. Because that's what human beings want. All of the attractions and distractions. That's just an analogy. You know what I mean? You all know what I mean. All of your fancy cars and wants, and which only brings tribulations of the mind, not pure joy, not the peace that you're experiencing this very moment. What else is there? At this moment, is there anything you need? Anything you need? Thank you. Because see what I'm talking about, the fullness within you is felt this moment. In that fullness, what do you need? In that fullness, the little you collapses, not to be found. No. Even if it says me, down there, you'll say, oh, just keep quiet. That's the capacity you come to experience. Then you become the master, not the ego mind. Speechless eloquence. Speechless silence. Always is. That's your true nature. Would you choose that or the blah blahs of the world? You'll be blah blahing and then you'll die and you'll come in another 30, 50 lifetimes. If you love the life and you want to come back, be my guest, no problems. I have no attachment to it. But if you choose the other, then I'll make sure you're there. There's not even an I sitting and doing anything, folks. You know what I mean. English verbiage I have to use I, otherwise you'll say, oh, what are you talking about? If I say self, you'll say, oh, which self? So simply I say I, but it's not really the personality. There's no personality existing here. So going back to Amy's question, first, the expectation. There's also an expectation that you're going to be lonely, right? So drop that expectation. Drop the judgment that the loneliness occurs. The moment you drop the judgment that you're lonely, blah, 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 then the immensity alone will surface and will become a permanent in your life. And you'll experience that permanence, which is your true reality. Then all of these kleshas, the garbage, will simply drop. And you have to allow the allowing. Another thing with you and every other people who are in the mind ego is the vasanas. What Bhagavan says is, drain away your vasanas so you can see your true self. So the draining away the vasanas is this only. Simply it keeps coming up and you say, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you. Allowing it to simply exit. So that's the abhyasa. You have to constantly, consciously, super consciously pay attention. Because so much comes up even in the superconscious state. Even if one is living in the superconscious state, so much comes up to be released. Do you have the guts to look at it consciously at that moment and say, this does not serve me? And yes, the fear will come up saying, oh, if you give up everything, who's going to do your job and who's going to do? I'm not saying quit your job or do anything. I'm saying while you're, because the doing happens till the day you die, the doing doesn't stop, no? But while you're doing, there is no doer called name and form, doing something. It is simply an effortless flow in your life that is simply presenting according to your prarabdha karmas, the past life karmas, blah, blah, blah. If you are in that state that you experience for a few minutes, even, what can touch you? What can touch you? In the deep state, can anything touch you of this world, which is transitory? No. So that's the state I'm talking about. Nothing euphoric, nothing. Simply the silence, the serenity, the harmony, which is permanent. And even if some discomfort arises from the jagat, which is the world, you will say that I have nothing to do with it. And if you try to interact with it, then you're pulled into the karmic propensities of that person and you're sucked right into the whirlpool of their karma. So be careful. That's conscious living. Even though you love that person, he's a part of you and whatever it is, but they've got their own karma. You have to walk this alone, all by yourself, this path. Okay? So you have to be careful. Lovingly unattached. That's when the lovingly unattached comes, because you have your siblings, you have your, drama people around you, and you may be one yourself. But till the drama within yourself drops, then you become the vastness that facilitates everybody around you to look at themselves and see, why the hell, what is this one got which I don't have, and I should just not hang on to these silly toys of mine, and then you drop it. It's just the question of being lovingly unattached, because attachments brings sorrows. No matter what you're doing, whether you're the guru principle, whether you're enlightened, attachment brings sorrows, right? If I wanted this room packed and there's only a few of you now, if I'm attached to that positionality, what happens? Can the speaking happen at this velocity? Impossible. Because everything is in totality given up, renounced. But I promise you, when that happens, that universal consciousness which is within you will sustain you with a piece of bread. You don't ask for more than that. That is the key point. You don't say only bread. Not even something to go on the bread like a butter or something. No. Do you have the guts to go to that extent? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's all analogy. So everything that you've been expecting thus far simply does not happen. And well, what is it left with? So what? You have you with you, that immensity, that eternal ancient one. This little self or this little lifetime or this little positionality is not ancient. It's temporary. We read, no, Bhagavan's book and Swami. It's temporary. It's fleeting. It's changing all the time. Cling on to the changeless within you, which is the Parameshwara, Ishvara, whatever form you can see it with. Go beyond the Parabrahman, Parat Param Parameshwara. So beyond the form also, beyond Jesus also you can go. Beyond Krishna also you can go. Beyond Shiva also you can go. Beyond the mountain also I have gone. Doesn't mean you lose the love for the mountain or you lose the love for Shiva, or you lose the love for Jesus. You do. But only when you go beyond the form alone, you will see your formless grandeur that exists and presence within you at this moment. Otherwise, you can't see it. Because if you're stagnated with the form, you'll only see the form alone coming in front of you. You see? So beyond the form, if you go, who are you? Beyond the form. Then you merge with that formless. You're formless and that formless merges and then you're finished. And after that merging also, some facilitation in your life will process itself, will present itself. Like the divinity within you wants to impact with the humanity or whatever happened in this one. I'll just do it, not attached to it. So all that this one sits here is to bring you to that vastness, to that seeing, so that you can be the limitless lights in this universe. Because I promise you don't have to do anything. When your beingness shifts, everything even around your workforce will shift. People will wonder what's so great about this guy, he doesn't even lose it. So you gained something. You gained a little door to the vastness, which is eternal. Because that's the only way you can change the world. You can't change the world. You can't just go tell your boss, you're a freaking jerk. Okay? You're a jerk and I think you need to change your attitude. You can't go and tell him that. You change your attitude first and show him that no matter what he is, you are humble and you are receiving and you're not attached to any positionality in your workforce or anywhere. It doesn't matter. And when the right time comes, God will lift you from that space because you have done Sharanagati, you're being humble. So my kid doesn't need to be there and just lift you and give you a much better job. This happened to many people. Thank you so much for coming. Jai Shankar. Namaste. Thank you to all the Zoomers who've been here, taking the time to Zoom. I appreciate it. And I'm glad we have the Zooms for you because sometimes some inevitable situations you can't come here. You have the Zooms totally free. So please continue to come if you can come. You saw the benefits that you received today. It is very important to simply sit here in this vastness. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jai Shankar.